Okay. Oh my gosh.
All the way back.
Go ahead, Nadia.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, April. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's hard to. Go ahead, I'll come back. Go ahead. So we've heard of, need some water? You okay?
The CBO came out with a report earlier this week that showed inflation going down, but still above target to the end of this year and then into next year. I mean, has the White House sort of painted too rosy a picture on how quickly inflation is going to go down given the projections that came out from CBO this week?
So a couple of things. So as you mentioned, the CBO report came out yesterday. It projects stable, steady economic growth in the years ahead. As inflation eases, the deficit falls dramatically this year. On the deficit, the CBO projects that our deficit this year will fall by 1.7 trillion after it fell by 350 billion just last year.
With the expiration of the CARES Act, $2.5 trillion, and the fact that we didn't do another American Rescue Plan, $2 trillion, we took some real deficit increasing legislation off the books. That's made the deficit look a lot smaller. He didn't really do anything. He was there while it happened, but it's not like his administration went out and said, okay, we're going to have a big tax increase or we're going to do $400 billion of spending cuts. They've done neither. So they've really just been around as the deficit naturally improves.
Not just talking about baby formula either. There are infants, children, and adults with different metabolic disorders who are risking permanent irreversible damage the longer they go without special formulas that are manufactured at Abbott Nutrition. I'm wondering, does the president have confidence in the FDA's ability to deal with situations like this? And as he's been monitoring the situation, does he still have confidence in his FDA director?
Yes, and yes. Unlike Republicans in Congress and the previous administration, the president believes that FDA and particularly its food division needs to be well resourced to do its critical work and do regular annual inspection. So we have to just take a little bit of give me a second here. Take a step back. The current shortage exists because Abbott closed, as you know, a facility in Michigan.
You said you brought up the Abbott plant and it was kind of putting on them, but Senator Patty Murray today told the FDA that she gives the FDA an F on not realizing the warning signs of the crisis. And she also says that they have not given her a plan that she's requested about how to stabilize that food safety program. So is there anything the White House can ensure that the FDA has been responsive to Senator Murray and those on Capitol Hill?
So let me just first say this. This is the hearing. During the hearing yesterday, Dr. Califf said it's important we get to the bottom of what happened with the Sturgis facility and the root of what has caused the issues we're facing today. He has designated someone to lead an after-action report.
What doesn't make sense, what I can't for the life of me figure out, is why it took so long to investigate in the first place. Why did so much time pass before the FDA took serious action to investigate this contamination in baby formula?
There's no question. It's not it's just not a good.
Well, I'm asking the question: why did it take so much time?
That very first case, you have to collect samples.
No, I'm asking why it took 6 months to take serious action.
Because there are systemic issues that need to be corrected. It's clearly laid out.
Do you have
in
a plan
the
to do that?
Yes.
And when can we see it?
When can you see the plan?
To correct these problems, yes.
We have a plan, but a complete plan written out, we'll have to get to you as soon as we can. I can't give you an exact date right now.
Well,
up on this idea because the president campaigned on a promise to be able to bring Democrats and Republicans together to get the hard things done. Why has he not been able to bring them together to make this a legislative priority to even get a small measure done when it comes to?
Well, I think that's what Senator Schumer is trying to do.
Yeah. Why not do that in the early days of his presidency?
Well, we have been talking to Congress, and the president is doing everything that he can to get this done. But we are going to continue to call on Congress to act.
Does this now move to the top of his
It's a
legislative
priority.
priorities above Build Back Better, above COVID relief? Does this now need to be the singular focus of all of Washington, D.C.?
Kristen, I would argue that this has been a top priority from the time.
Singular focus for the president and lawmakers.
I'm not going to list out the 1, 2, or 3 of priority. What I can tell you is this has been a top priority.
A lot of questions about the czar. I guess just to ask to ask it a different way. former President Obama appointed then Vice President Biden to take control of this issue. Are there any discussions, is the president considering tasking his vice president with trying to get something done on this issue?
Look, we have Ambassador Susan Rice, who is the president's domestic policy advisor, as you all know, and she is coordinating the president's whole of government approach.
Karine, given everything you just laid out, and the president said yesterday he will use every tool that's available, and I guess why hasn't he stood up a task force, an interagency task, unionizing since the start of his presidency? There's also an outstanding request, I believe, from House Democrats over the past year that he appoint a national director, I guess as Kristen said, and start a task force.
Well, I just walk through a whole of government approach that we're taking. That's how important this is. You know,
I guess why not make an official interagency task force?
Because we have a whole of government approach. We have a whole of government approach that I just mentioned that Ambassador Susan Rice is leading, along with other departments. And with that whole of government approach, we have been able to put forth